it's Caitlin. I'm just quickly jumping in here to let you guys know that we're starting with a new series today. It's called We Need Jesus, and it's written by Faith in Kids. And now these videos are only a part of the lesson, and you can find the whole lesson on faithinkids.org. The lesson will also be linked in the description box below, so feel free to check that out with your families. There's lots of activities for you to do, and it's just a really great thing to do with your families. Anyway, let's get to the video. Hey guys, welcome back to this week's kids video. We are in a new series today in the book of Matthew. And just like the parents, we're looking at the last part of the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus here is beautifully and powerfully talking to people who belong in the kingdom and telling them how to live and how they fall short of this as well. And we see Jesus also standing in front of us and telling us how to live, how he is the rock that we need to build our lives on. In today's story, we actually see some builders who build on different foundations, and let's read the story and see what happens. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rains fell, the rivers rose, and the winds blew and pounded that house. Yet it didn't collapse, because its foundation was on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and doesn't act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain fell, the rivers rose, and the winds blew and pounded that house, and it collapsed. It collapsed with a great crash. When Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were astonished at his teaching, because he was teaching them like one who had authority and not like their scribes. Did you spot who Jesus wants us to understand and listen carefully to? We have the wise builder, and Jesus says in verse 24, they hear these words of mine and put them into practice. But the foolish man hears those words of Jesus and doesn't put them into practice. Did you spot who Jesus wants us to understand, to listen carefully to? Wise people will hear God's words and put them into practice, but foolish people will hear what Jesus says and doesn't put them into practice. Do you see what will happen to these people? They will not stand. Jesus says that those who don't listen to his word and don't put them into practice are foolish people. Now, did you spot it? Did you spot how the houses were different? Did you spot who was the foolish one and who was the wise one? And did you spot whose house was still standing at the end? Now, work it out. Who is the wise builder in real life? And who is the foolish builder in real life? And to live it out, can you think of a time in your life when you've heard Jesus' teaching or a teaching from the Bible and you've changed your life because of it? And now a teen challenge for those teens at home. This lockdown may be a storm that Jesus is talking about. How can this help us to be wise with the way we live now?